Welcome, gentlemen. There are men who talk about justice. Then there are men who carry it in silence. Sigma males don't walk into a room needing attention. They don't arrive to impress, manipulate, or control. They show up with purpose, grounded in something deeper than approval. And when they do, you feel it. Something shifts. Sometimes the change is quiet. Other times, it hits like a storm. But it's never random. That's the effect of a Sigma male's presence. It surfaces what's real, not by force, not by noise, but by being someone whose energy won't tolerate anything fake. People either align with that or fall apart in its presence. It's not cruelty, it's truth. Sigma males don't cause karma, but they often initiate it. They don't expose lies through confrontation, they do it through contrast. Their existence alone reminds others of what's been denied. And for those still clinging to illusion, being near one feels like standing in front of a mirror that refuses to flatter. There's a reason their presence feels spiritual. It isn't just psychological, it's energetic. A Sigma's presence awakens what's been asleep in others. It doesn't speak to the ego, it speaks to the soul. And that's why you're still watching. Because a part of you recognizes that quiet pull towards something deeper, something real. If you recognize yourself in this, hear this clearly. You didn't come into this world to keep people comfortable. You weren't built to be loud or easy to understand. You were designed to disrupt illusions and bring balance. You're not detached. You're not too quiet. You are the message that life delivers when someone's ready or forced to confront the truth. That's why you don't fold. That's why you're here. Let's get into it, gentlemen. Number 1. They don't tear people down. People unravel trying to manipulate them. A Sigma male isn't out for revenge. He doesn't waste time proving a point. He's not reactive. And that's exactly what makes him powerful. Because those who try to manipulate him eventually fall apart. Not because he attacks, but because he won't engage. Manipulators rely on patterns. They fish for emotional reactions. They need a hook to pull you in. But the Sigma gives them nothing. No guilt, no defensiveness, no need to explain. He meets manipulation with calm silence. Maybe he changes the subject. Maybe he walks away. And just like that, the whole strategy collapses. Imagine trying to play a game of chess with someone who simply refuses to sit at the board. That's the Sigma. And the more someone tries to pull strings, the more exposed they become. Without control, their false sense of power disintegrates. And here's what really unravels them. The Sigma male doesn't respond with anger. He remains centered, composed, emotionally untouchable. He doesn't fight. He doesn't flinch. And that quiet confidence? It makes the manipulator question everything. If you're a Sigma, understand this. Your greatest strength lies in what you withhold. Your refusal to dance with dysfunction is your power. You were never meant to be understood by those who rely on control. Your silence is armor. And your stillness? It's the storm they didn't see coming. Number 2. They are divine timing, embodied. Some people walk into your life and leave no trace. A Sigma male doesn't do that. His presence doesn't just enter, it transforms. He arrives at a specific time, often when someone is teetering on the edge, between growth and collapse. And once he's there, things begin to shift. Comfort zones tighten. Excuses start sounding weak. Illusions lose their grip. And it's not because he says much. He might barely speak at all. But what he carries with him is undeniable. A mirror. a mirror that reflects your real self, not the version you've curated. Say someone's stuck in a relationship that doesn't align with their values, or living a life that doesn't reflect who they are. When they meet a Sigma, that dissonance becomes impossible to ignore. He doesn't call them out. He doesn't judge. He simply exists in a way that forces truth to rise to the surface. And that's when it begins. People either rise, collapse, or run. He doesn't push them in any direction. But he is the fork in the road, a signal from life that says, it's time. The next version of you is waiting. And this man's presence just made the current one unbearable to maintain. Number 3. They force people to confront the version of themselves they've avoided. At some point, you stop making yourself small to keep others comfortable. You stop biting your tongue to keep peace that was never real. You stop filtering yourself to fit rooms not designed for truth. That's what a Sigma male represents. He refuses to shrink. He won't perform. And that's what unsettles people. Not because he's rude, but because he's real. Most people are addicted to the edited version of others, the agreeable version, the smiling version, the version that won't challenge their worldview. But a Sigma doesn't offer that. He doesn't give you the digestible, diluted version of himself. So people call him cold, arrogant, distant, but they're wrong. He's not cold. He's just honest. He's not arrogant. He simply knows his value. He's not distant. He's just not performing. Picture a room full of surface talk and fake laughter. The Sigma male walks in, says little, laughs only when it's real, doesn't force smiles or fake interest. That's not rebellion. It's integrity. And here's the thing. Being liked means nothing if you had to betray yourself to earn it. A Sigma would rather be alone in his truth than applauded for a lie. That's not ego. That's power. That's freedom. Number 4. They act as spiritual wake-up calls. Sigma males don't show up to heal or to rescue. They aren't trying to fix anyone. But their presence, it wakes people up. And not gently. They're not here to comfort. They're here to reflect, to stand still while others project. And that reflection reveals more than words ever could. You meet a Sigma male, and suddenly you're forced to confront yourself, not the image you project, but the self you've been running from. That's why being near him can feel intense. He won't validate your mask. He won't applaud your persona. He'll just be. And that being is more honest than most conversations you've had in your life. Take someone addicted to attention. Around most people, they'd be praised, cheered on. But in front of a Sigma, all they get is silence. No applause. No judgment. Just stillness. And that stillness makes them ask themselves, why am I doing this? Who am I trying to prove something to? And that moment is everything. That's where transformation begins. A Sigma male doesn't guide you to your answers. He forces you to face your questions. And once you see that reflection, you can't go back to who you were. That's his gift and his power. He doesn't just wake people up. He makes sure they never fall asleep again. Number 5. They bring long overdue endings to the surface. There's something subtly disruptive about a Sigma male's presence, but not in a destructive way. He doesn't arrive looking to tear things apart or stir the pot. What he brings is clarity. And clarity, when it hits, has a way of making the cracks in your life suddenly visible. He doesn't force change. He reveals what's already broken. It could be a relationship that's been dragging on, propped up by routine and emotional denial. A job that looks impressive from the outside but slowly eats away at your soul. Or a lifestyle built more on distractions and comfort than real meaning. The Sigma doesn't confront any of this directly. He doesn't need to. Just by being in the room, by moving through life with alignment, intention, and zero performance, he becomes the contrast. His authenticity quietly exposes everything around him that isn't. Suddenly, the excuses you've leaned on start sounding hollow. The situations you've tolerated feel heavier. And the things you've held onto out of fear start slipping through your fingers. Not because he pushed, but because you finally felt the weight of pretending. That's not chaos. That's realignment. Sigma males don't drag people out of their comfort zones. They simply make staying there unbearable. And once you felt that, going back to denial isn't just hard, it's impossible. It might show up as a breakup, a resignation, or a major lifestyle shift. But it's not destruction. It's release. It's what happens when someone reminds you, without saying a word, that pretending isn't peace. It's just paralysis. And the Sigma? He didn't tear your world down. He just showed you which parts were already crumbling. Number 6. They act as catalysts for spiritual acceleration. Being around a Sigma male isn't relaxing, and that's the point. He's not here to comfort your ego or make your fears feel safe. His energy doesn't soothe, it amplifies. It doesn't hold you back. It pushes you forward, fast. Sigma males are tuned into a different rhythm than most people. Their emotional depth, their silence, their stillness, it all carries an intensity that either propels you higher or sends you running. He doesn't push or pull. He simply reflects. And in that reflection, everything you've been avoiding rises to the surface. If you're grounded, his energy lifts you. If you're growing, it multiplies your momentum. But if you're faking confidence, avoiding wounds, or clinging to an identity built on survival, being near him will feel like pressure you can't escape. He doesn't carry people. He doesn't drag anyone up a mountain they're not ready to climb. And that's what separates him. He's not here to convince or coddle. He won't slow his stride for the sake of comfort. And he doesn't stick around to unpack emotional weight disguised as love. Imagine someone entering his space trying to mask insecurity with charm. He won't call them out. He won't console them either. He'll just reflect. And that mirror is either a breakthrough or a breaking point. That's why being close to a Sigma feels so intense. It's not because he demands change. It's because he makes anything less than truth echo like noise. His presence accelerates whatever your soul was already moving through. Healing, transformation, or collapse. It's not cruelty. It's alignment. And alignment doesn't carry. It awakens. Number 7. They vibrate at a frequency that manipulative energy can't survive in. Those who operate with hidden agendas can't breathe in the same emotional atmosphere as a Sigma male. It's not something he says. It's the energy he radiates. In his presence, lies grow heavier. Games become transparent. Emotional manipulation loses its edge. It's like standing in front of someone who sees beyond your words. Someone who reads the frequency of your truth, not just your tone. The Sigma doesn't need to confront anyone directly. He simply exists with such grounded authenticity that anything false begins to collapse. Let's say someone tries to play the victim to earn sympathy or control the situation. In most rooms, that tactic might work. But around a Sigma, it falls flat. They're met not with sympathy, but stillness, an unshakable stillness that offers no reaction. And manipulators can't survive without reaction. That's their lifeline. When they don't get it, when their performance is met with calm detachment, they panic. The Sigma isn't rejecting them with words. He's just not engaging. There's no emotional hook, no point of access. And that, in itself, sends a message louder than any confrontation. If you're not being real, you won't find connection here. People with pure intentions feel at ease around him. But people with motives? They feel the air tighten. It's not personal. It's energetic. Sigma males don't adjust to others' frequencies. They emit their own. And if yours doesn't resonate with truth, peace, or purpose, you'll feel it deep in your chest before he ever says a word. Number 8, they are here to sever false bonds, not reinforce emotional weight. A Sigma male wasn't designed to carry the weight of relationships built on guilt, history, or illusion. He's not wired to fake closeness. If a bond is rooted in neediness, performance, or subtle control, he won't fight with it. He'll feel it. And once that truth clicks, he starts to distance himself. No drama, no speech, just silence, just space. Not to punish, but to protect his own alignment. Where others seek closure through conflict or emotional explanations, a Sigma doesn't need final words to know it's done. He recognizes when a connection wasn't built on something real. And in his world, there's nothing to close if there was never truth to begin with. Some people enter your life as a chapter, not a lifetime. And once the lesson is absorbed, trying to hold on becomes its own form of suffering. Let's say someone drains his energy while calling it love. At first, he may observe quietly, trying to give the benefit of the doubt. But once care turns into control, he won't argue. He won't try to repair something fake. He'll simply vanish. And those left behind will ask, how could he leave like that? The answer is simple. He didn't leave out of coldness. He left because staying would have meant betraying his own peace. Not all connections are sacred. Some are wounds dressed as warmth. And the Sigma male doesn't carry what he never signed up for. If it drains him, it's done. If it costs him his peace, it's too expensive. And when he cuts a cord, it stays cut. Not out of hate, but out of honesty. Number 9. They enter like whispers and leave like storms. A Sigma male doesn't announce himself. He doesn't walk into your life with a performance or a speech. He arrives quietly, present, observant. At first, you don't notice him fully. You just feel something shift. His presence isn't loud, but it's unmistakably there. There's something about the way he watches, listens, and simply exists that makes you pause, makes you reflect. And without trying, he starts highlighting everything around you that's out of alignment. Not by challenging it directly, just by being a living example of what alignment looks like. Suddenly, what you've been avoiding becomes impossible to unsee. Your relationships, your choices, your self-worth, all of it comes into question. And here's the part most people miss until it's too late. A Sigma male won't stay where truth doesn't live. He won't linger in spaces where he has to shrink. When it's time to go, he doesn't beg, argue, or explain his way out. He simply disappears. No noise, just absence. But that absence, it leaves an echo. Because when a Sigma exits, everything he revealed lingers. He might have walked in like a whisper, but he always leaves like a storm. Not out of cruelty, but because their purpose in your life has been fulfilled. Sigma males don't leave to wound or punish. They leave because their time in your story has reached its close. And when they exit, it's rarely with fanfare. But what follows in their absence is often profound. You're left staring at the fragments of yourself you didn't even know were fractured. Revelations come crashing in. Layers peel away. Some people finally recognize the illusion they've been desperately clinging to, a life built on autopilot. Others feel an inner shift, the beginning of something deeper, more honest. But regardless of how it unfolds, one thing's for sure, nothing is left untouched. Sigma males aren't destroyers. They're revealers. They don't burn things down. They uncover what was already crumbling beneath the surface. And once they've gone, it's like a storm passed through silently, rearranging everything. No loud arrival, just a quiet departure with echoes that linger. And the person you are in the aftermath? Not the same one who met them. That's the Sigma effect. Not everyone withstands it, but those who do come out forged, wiser, awakened. Because after the storm clears, what remains is only what's real. Number 10. They leave people feeling exposed. Not with malice, but with truth. Sigma males don't walk around trying to put people on blast. They're not interested in humiliating or embarrassing anyone. That's not their style. But their presence? It does something rare. Just being near them, grounded, calm, untangled from pretense, makes the falsehoods in others rise to the surface. People who are used to hiding behind masks, playing games, or manipulating their way through life, suddenly feel bare. See, most folks go along with the act. They laugh at the right jokes, respond to the right cues. But the Sigma? He doesn't respond the way others do. He doesn't fake a laugh to keep things smooth. He doesn't match your emotional energy just to make you feel seen. He observes, silently, without judgment, but with absolute presence. And for those hiding in noise, that silence is deafening. It's not what he says. It's what he doesn't need to say. The dishonest grow restless. The insecure start to unravel. Because when you're standing next to someone who isn't performing, someone completely aligned with himself, your own performance becomes painfully obvious. Imagine someone exaggerating a story to impress him. He won't interrupt. He won't call them out. But his stillness speaks louder than any words could. And suddenly, they're wondering, why did I lie? Why was I trying to impress him? That's what he does. He doesn't attack. He reflects. He becomes a mirror. And what shows up in that mirror isn't always pretty, but it's always honest. Number 11, they test the soul, not the surface. Sigma males aren't concerned with how charming you seem or how polite your manners are. You could be all smiles and say all the right things. It won't matter, because they're not listening to your words. They're listening to your energy, your intentions, the emotional truth behind the performance. This is what separates them from the crowd. While most people are focused on what's visible, your tone, your outfit, your friendliness, a Sigma is tuned into what's beneath. He notices the cracks in your speech, the stiffness in your laugh, the way your words don't match your eyes. You can't fake sincerity with him. And if you try, he'll feel it, even if he never says a word. Ever felt off around someone who didn't actually do or say anything rude? That discomfort, it's often what people feel around a Sigma. Not because he's being unkind, but because his clarity makes others aware of their own lack of it. He doesn't accuse. He doesn't confront. He just exists in a way that exposes what's not aligned. Say someone flatters him, offers praise, or even opportunity. The average person might light up, eager to receive. But the Sigma is already watching the energy beneath the gesture. He's not wondering if you admire him. He's wondering, what do they want from me? That's the silent test. He's not measuring your charm. He's scanning your soul. And if your heart is clear, you'll feel seen. But if you're hiding something, you'll feel caught before you know why. Number 12, they don't punish. They reveal. Punishment isn't in the Sigma male's nature. He doesn't seek vengeance. He doesn't dwell in grudges. Yet somehow, people who cross paths with him often feel shattered, not because he inflicted pain, but because his truth was too sharp to ignore. Most people confuse his honesty with cruelty. They assume he's being harsh, cold, or unnecessarily blunt. But what he's actually doing, consciously or not, is pulling the curtain back. And what lies behind that curtain? It's not always easy to look at. Imagine someone who's been pretending for years. Fake confidence, avoidance, denial. When they encounter a Sigma, they expect the usual dance. But he doesn't play along. He might say a single line, or maybe nothing at all. But whatever he offers, it lands deep. And suddenly, they think he caused the disturbance. But in reality, all he did was illuminate what was already broken. That's his power. He doesn't tear you apart. He just makes it impossible to keep pretending. And once the illusion cracks, it doesn't matter who turned on the light. The room will never look the same. Sigma males don't deal in punishment. They deal in truth. And truth, when it finally arrives, doesn't ask for permission. It simply reveals. Here's the final words. Some people speak the truth. Sigma males are the truth, whether the world's ready or not. Understand this. You weren't designed to blend in. You weren't born to obey rules just because they've always been there. You weren't placed on this earth to entertain, please, or beg for validation. You were built for something heavier, something harder, something real. You're not just a man. You're a disruption. A mirror held up to the lies people cling to. A quiet force that shakes foundations without even raising your voice. Sigma males don't walk with arrogance. They walk with weight. A silent weight that doesn't punish. It corrects. You don't chase attention. You don't need influence. You become the moment that reveals who's misusing theirs. Sometimes without a single word, your presence shatters illusions, breaks patterns, forces reflection. That's not a burden, it's a calling. You carry an energy that pushes people to either face their truth or run from it. And while some may blame you, deep down they'll know. You didn't break them. You just refused to play along with the lie. You're not here to rescue everyone. You're here to awaken them. To shake them out of cycles they've been stuck in for far too long. That kind of presence? It's often misunderstood, feared, even hated. But don't let that shake your foundation. Because true transformation rarely feels comfortable. So if people evolve around you, or vanish completely, now you understand why. Your presence isn't easy. It's honest. And in a world addicted to false comfort, you are a rare and necessary kind of divine disruption. Stay rooted. Stay observant. Stay still when silence speaks louder than noise. You owe no one an explanation. Because sometimes karma doesn't knock. It just shows up, wearing your face. And that is exactly who you are. If this spoke to something deep within you, then you already know you're not alone. Like, share, and subscribe to Epic Persona, where we don't just talk about the surface. We dig into the soul of what makes men like you unstoppable. Here's a thought to carry with you. What illusion have you shattered lately, just by being real?